I think most of you know who Seth Rogen is. Now, of course, he's become more of a person that stands behind the camera and arranges how some of the films are going to play out instead of directly being in front of the camera like he was about a decade and a half ago. And now he opens up about some of the problems with Marvel Studios, specifically that they're making many comedy films that are interfering with his line of filmmaking. So recently, while talking to Games Radar, Seth Rogen was talking about upcoming projects and talking about the work he's done in the past, which of course involved a superhero film, which of course was The Green Hornet. But along with that, he wanted to talk about comedy, how comedy is today, what's changing, and he brought up the Marvel Studios problem and how it's sort of gone in a different direction. And what he talks about is the fact that you have MCU, Marvel Studios comedies now that are $200 to $300 million a piece. And he specifically mentioned Thor Ragnarok and Ant-Man as pointing to the comedy aspects of these films, saying how people are looking at these and they're approaching them in a comedic filmmaking way, and they hire people that are good with comedy, so people's perception of comedy has changed. And he also talks about the fact that there's other things on there like Deadpool as well, where again, it's a comedy film, but it's also like 10 to 20 times the budget of an actual comedy film sometimes. So, that is a problem, if you will, if you just compare budgets. And I think, honestly, he does he does show a valid argument, right? I don't want to sit here and hate Marvel Studios and bash on them, but Ant-Man is usually the funniest movie I end up seeing the year it comes out. Like Ant-Man and the Wasp, I laughed during that movie more so than any other movie I saw that entire year. Because again, that's sort of what they were going for in the characters in that film, and Paul Rudd and all that, who's known for comedies. So I get that, and Thor Ragnarok as well. Like, that felt like a comedy film through and through, even though it had its serious moments and it had a darker plot than some of the other MCU films. Again, it felt like a comedy because Taika was at the helm. So I do see where he's coming at this, and I see the angle he's going at it from. And I do largely agree with him. It does pose a perception problem. Because when you see comedy films and it's listed as a comedy and you see, American Pie 12 needs more pie, made for $1 million. And then you see Thor Ragnarok, $200 million. They're both comedy films, but also this is at the same time that problem of perceiving everything as a certain genre. Because if you guys remember 10 years ago, right when the Avengers came out, was I guess a little less than 10 years ago, but you get what I'm saying. Everybody was saying, it's just another superhero film. They're just all the same, all the same, all the same. So when the superhero genre tries to go to other genres, even though the superhero genre is not a genre, then everybody in that, section of fans complains, going, well, why are you now coming to our style of filmmaking? Because superhero films are just sort of, anything. You can make them anything. Guardians is a comedy, but it's also a like high concept sci-fi adventure. So again, you kind of see where he's coming from, but at the same time, you kind of just go, I guess, but not really.